Well, here we go, kicking off another brand new hour of the Steve Gruber Show. Warning, the Steve Gruber Show often results in extended periods of American pride and optimism and uncontrollable enthusiasm in the future of this country. It's another live broadcast day being kicked off on Real America's Voice, MTN, and reaching a global audience that's growing every single day. This is a no panic zone. That's why you're here. Welcome to it. Here are three big things you need to know this hour. Number one. Hey, look, I don't mean to point out that I was right again, but hell, I nailed it again. Signalgate was a fly trap for a leaker. They got him by way of Goldberg. Thank you. They exposed a rat. Number two, President Trump signed more executive orders and memorandums. This time he made it clear that if you receive Social Security, you have to be an American citizen and entitled to that benefit. Number three, why is it that so many people on the left, Democrats, corporate media whores, and anyone who just doesn't like Donald Trump are just embracing the idea that illegal aliens deserve to stay here as long as they want? And if they get tossed out of the country for first being here illegally, that somehow they are the victim. They're a victim. No, they're not. If you're here illegally, you're here illegally. What is it about the word illegally that those fighting back don't seem to grasp? The case of the MS-13 gang member from Maryland is front and center. The media wants to call him a Maryland father as if he's a constituent of Cory Booker. He's not. He's a constituent of President Bukele. And they claim he was deported by accident without due process and is therefore illegal. Kilmar Abrigo Garcia was sent to El Salvador. It was an administrative error, apparently, but that really is a technicality. You see, the claim is he'd be threatened by other violent gangs in El Salvador. So the person they say is a Maryland father and not a gang member couldn't return to El Salvador because he was being threatened by rival gangs. So there was a risk against him, and violent one that it was. There was what is known as a withholding of removal status order. But he could certainly have been sent out of the United States because of his confirmed gang status and sent to a third-party country like Guatemala, which would have been completely legal and ended any such discussion. And yes, we have such an agreement with Guatemala and other countries. I use it as an example. The DOJ, meanwhile, says if he somehow finds his way back to the Estados Unidos, he will be detained and tossed right back out. Estados Unidos, that's the United States, of course. In short, Senor Garcia is out, and he is never coming back. Technical error notwithstanding. Listen to this.
He is a member of MS-13. I don't think you'd want to be his neighbor, Jay. I sure wouldn't, and I don't think many Americans watching would want to be this individual's neighbor. He's been involved in human trafficking. He's been involved in labor trafficking, and he should not be in this country. So whether he's in an El Salvadorian jail or a U.S. detention facility, I am so very glad, as are millions of Americans, that he is off of U.S. streets. Because remember, Jay, who is MS-13? They maim, they rape. They kill Americans for sport, and the American people are done with it. They said so on November 5th, 2024.
There's an ABC News reader. Can't call him a journalist. He's just a news reader. Getting crushed by the facts about MS-13 and that guy living in Maryland. And while this is going on, Attorney General Pam Bondi doing what she can do to, quote, facilitate his return, as ordered by the Supreme Court. However, the court put no date on when that would have to happen, did not specify what the term facilitate had to mean, and therefore when El Salvador's president flatly refuses to release or return Senor Garcia, it really becomes a moot point, now doesn't it? The wife of the deported MS-13 gang member says she will be waiting until her husband comes home. I'm sorry, you're going to be waiting an awfully long time. Here she is.
Today is 34 days of after his disappearance, and I stand before you filled with spirit that refuses to bring down. I will not stop fighting until I see my husband alive. Kilmar, if you can hear me, stay strong. God hasn't forgotten about you. Our children are asking, when would you come home? And I pray for the day I tell them the time and date that you'll return.
All of this has left those on the left kicking and screaming like petulant children. who are demanding the certified gangbanger be returned to Estados Unidos, or else there will be hell to pay, apparently. In fact, there are several high-profile Democrats saying that in a desperate attempt to remain relevant, people like Cory Booker, they will fly to El Salvador and demand they turn over the MS-13 gangbanger so he can be brought back to America. And if he does, I suggest, Senator, you make him a bed and a hot meal. How about that, Senator? Cory Booker says he is going to lead this delegation to El Salvador and demand an MS-13 gangbanger be returned. It's quite something, and here it is.
Do you think the Trump administration is defying a court order?
It certainly appears that they are, and they're trying to play too cute with parsing words. The court has ordered the return of this person and that the Trump administration should do it. They're paying an authoritarian leader in El Salvador to hold people in the worst imaginable types of prisons that he has sent there without any due process. And this isn't just about Mr. Garcia. This is about every American understanding that this president is making an assault on the due process rights that are afforded to people in our country. Everybody from Anton Scalia to other conservative think tanks have said very clearly, you cannot disappear people off American streets. We are a nation of rules, and due process is clearly one of them. And to erode the due process rights of anyone is a threat to the due process rights of everyone. This is a democratic slippage, and we all should be speaking out against it.
Yeah, we should all be speaking out against it, but most of us don't want these people as neighbors, just like was said in that previous comment. Cory Booker, grandstanding, trying to remain relevant, trying to claim that this guy is his constituent. No, he's Bukele's constituent. Meanwhile, Donald Trump helping illegals deport themselves every day to help clean up this country. Listen to this.
As you probably know, we're doing a self-deportation. And we're going to make it comfortable for people, and we're going to work with those people to come back into our country legally.
¿Está funcionando la autodeportación?
Well, we're starting it. We haven't started it right now. We're getting the murderers out. We have our total aim on the very bad ones, as you can imagine, because you have some great people that came in, but we have some very bad ones. We had 11,088 murderers. Half of them killed more than one person. These are rough, bad people. We want them out. And that's mostly our focus.
Yeah.
But what we want to do is we're going to have a self-deportation program, which we haven't even announced yet. I guess I'm announcing it to you. Why not, Rachel? Here it is. The only thing I haven't determined is what are we going to do? We're going to give them a stipend. We're going to give them some money and a plane ticket. And then we're going to work with them. If they're good, if we want them back in, we're going to work with them to get them back in as quickly as we can.
I'm told I have to work on my Spanish, but I thought I was pretty close. Let's hear.
Estados Unidos.
Estados Unidos. I thought that was pretty close.
Estados Unidos.
Estados Unidos. United States. Estados Unidos. I think that's pretty close. You know, my Spanish teacher, Ivy, says I needed to work on it. So I'm working on it. You know, we might as well speak a little Spanish when we're tossing these folks out. I'll be right back. Blasting off with 1775 coffee today. It's the way we get fired up around here every day. I'll tell you more about that in a minute, but this is what it looks like. 1775coffee.com. Use the promo code Gruber. You're going to save a little bit of money. And look, if I can help you save some money and feel good about great coffee and an American company getting it done, well, there you go. No, the coffee doesn't come from America. Very little does. One place in America grows coffee, Kona, Hawaii. That's the only way. Very small region cannot keep up with the demand of this program, I'm quite sure. The White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt slamming rogue judges during a press briefing yesterday, as she does almost every day, talking about the judges blocking the administration from tossing out illegals from Cuba, Haiti, Nicaragua, Venezuela, and all of these other countries. 530,000. This district judge says everyone needs a hearing and due process. 530,000 hearings and due processes. The point being is they'll bog it down so nobody ever gets tossed out. That's not going to fly. We have 20 25, 30 million illegals in this country. If you're here illegally, that's crime enough for me to start with. I appreciate the due process, but there's no due process when you invaded this country, now was there? Didn't go through a hearing to legally be here, so get out. One word I'd like to learn in Spanish and use more often is adios, amigos. More illegal aliens involved in drug trafficking and illegal violent crimes are being caught more often than at any time in 4 years. You see, we're catching the criminals now because we're actually focusing on it. Listen to this.
We're here today to announce the return and unsealing of indictments charging a combined group of 10 defendants in connection with drug trafficking and money laundering offenses, including by members of 2 Mexico-based cartels, namely the La Nueva Familia Mexicana and Jalisco New Generation cartels. Today is an important day for the Department of Justice, the citizens of the Northern District of Georgia, and for the American people in our common fight to combat the flood of deadly drugs across our borders into the United States. It is also an important day for the citizens of Mexico who are terrorized daily by the violence unleashed by these cartels.
Pretty important stuff. You see, in an important point made right there. It's not just those being terrorized on our side of the border. These violent drug cartels like MS-13 or Tren de Aragua or 100 other gangs, the Bloods, the Crips, the Latin Kings, whichever one you want to pick, running the streets of America. And just so you understand this, MS-13 originated on the streets of Los Angeles to help protect El Salvador's gangs from rival gangs in America. And then they were deported, and then they thrived in Central and South America, did MS-13, and then they would come back to the United States, but they originated in California. But that does not mean they get to stay here. Meanwhile, Tom Homan says, we've dropped to record low numbers of illegal alien crossings on our borders, and yes, this is what I voted for. March of last year, 137,000 crossings. This year, barely 7,000 total. Listen.
Three-quarter apprehensions by 95% since last March. Can you describe maybe some of the success behind these numbers?
Because I worked for the greatest president of my lifetime, Donald Trump. Trump 45 is successful, unprecedented. And we're even doing better this time. President Trump, I give him all the credit because he put executive actions in place day one. He re-implemented the policies that we proved were effective. Right now, as we speak today, because of President Trump, the men and women of ICE and the men and women of the Border Patrol who stand on that line every day, today we have the most secure border in the history of this nation. No one can argue. The data's clear on that. I started in 1984. I've never seen the numbers this low. So again, the most secure border in the history of this nation, President Trump was able to do that in a matter of weeks, something that Biden administration didn't do in 4 years. Either wouldn't or couldn't, but we proved it didn't need legislation, didn't need all this other stuff that the last administration talked about. We needed a strong president who took America first and cared about American safety and securing that border. Securing the border at this level means we have a lot stronger national security because of the border.
That's exactly right. We have a stronger border, secure border, fewer criminals, less crime. And that's what I get back to from this Senor Rivera. I don't want him as my neighbor. I don't think you want him as your neighbor. I don't want MS-13 gang bangers in my neighborhood at all. Let law and order do its job. Let those that do not live here legally be sent to where they do and clean up their acts, all right? I mentioned this a moment ago, 1775 coffee. And I was reading on the back here, in a Daring Pack 1775 coffee and Rumble are defending your right to sip and speak freely. With every cup of 1775, you're not just savoring a bold brew, you're fueling Rumble's crusade for free speech. So speak up and be heard with 1775 coffee. Roasted by Patriots, for Patriots. It's what we drink every day here. We really like it. And we're live on Rumble, of course, every day as well. 1775 coffee. It comes from Bolivia. It's single source. It's not abusing the environment. We're taking care of the environment and taking care of our need for the best coffee in the world every morning. Yeah, you can do this. 1775coffee.com. 100% pure whole Arabica beans and single source, high altitude. Just love it. I'm going to show it to you one more time. There it is, 1775 Coffee. You'll save 10% using the promo code Gruber, and you can get fired up with us. It's what's in my cup every single day. 1775coffee.com/Gruber. You can get started right now. What are you waiting for? Go ahead. I had somebody ask me, is it a medium roast? Here's a medium roast right in my hand. So he said, do they have a medium roast? I'm kind of a dark roast guy myself, but I like the medium roast. There it is. You can love it. There, full screen. Look at that. Woo! You want some of this. Anyhow, Joe Biden came out and gave a speech last night. Yowza. He needed some 1775 coffee, I'll tell you that. We'll talk about it after the break.